Punta naman tayo sa steps on how we can factor sum of two cubes or difference of two cubes. So, for factoring this type of binomial, meron tayong susundan na pattern. So, here is the pattern for sum of two cubes. A cube plus B cube, ibig sabihin, this is the given sum kasi addition ng kanilang operation. So, the factors for sum of two cubes will be like this. So, paano natin makukuha yan? Okay? For the first factor, we have cube root of the first term. So, kung mapapansin natin, from a cube, naging a siya kasi kinuha ang cube root ng first term. And then, yung sign, kung ano yung sign sa given, yun din ang gagamitin natin sa first factor natin. And then, from b cube, naging b. So, anong ginawa? Kinuha ang cube root ng second term. Now, that's for the first factor. And then, for the second factor, which is this trinomial, anong gagawin natin? So, magbabase siya dito sa ating first factor. Kaya, pag nagkamali tayo sa pagkuha nitong cube root, magkakamali na rin tayo sa susunod nating factor. Okay? So, anong nangyari? From a, naging a squared. So, we have to get the square of the cube root of the first term. So, itong cube root of the first term, ito po yan. And then, from plus, naging minus. So, anong gagawin? We have to get the opposite sign ng ating first factor. And then, kung mapapansin nyo, we have AB here. So, ibig sabihin, we have to get the product of these two terms. So, pag-multiply natin yan. And then, for the last term, lagi po yung positive. And then, yung b, naging b squared. So, we have to get the square of the cube root of the second term. So, ito yung cube root of the second term. Kaya, kinuha natin yung kanyang square. So, again, for sum of two cubes, this is our pattern. Cube root of the first term, sign in between, cube root of the second term. Then we also have square of the first term, opposite sign, product of these two terms. So, ito yon. And then, we have the square of the cube root of the second term. Now, let us have the difference of two cubes. So, ano ang pattern niya? Hindi po siya nalalayo dun sa pattern ng sum of two cubes. So, dito, meron tayong minus sign kasi nga difference. So, kung mapapansin nyo, parehong-pareho lang sila. Ang pinagkaiba lang ay itong ating sign dito sa first factor and then yung sign ng ating middle term sa second factor. So, again, yung pattern, cube root of the first term. Next, yung sign niya, copy. Then, we have cube root of the second term. So, that will be the first factor. Again, bawal magkamali dito sa first factor kasi automatically, magkakamali na rin kayo sa second factor. So, we have the square of the cube root of the first term. Then, opposite ng sign. So, kung kanina plus, tapos naging minus, ngayon naman, minus na magiging plus. So, opposite sign. And then, product of the cube roots. And then, yung last term, lagi po yung positive. And then, get the square of the cube root of the second term. So, ito naman yung pattern ng ating difference of two cube. Now, punta na tayo sa ating example number 1. A cube plus 8. Ano yung pattern natin for sum of two cubes? So, get the cube root of the first term. So, ang first term natin ay a. Ano ba ang cube root niyan? We have a. And then, copy the sign in between. And then, get the cube root of the second term. That is 2. So, ayan. Meron na tayong first factor. Next, get the square of the cube root of the first term. So, ito. Ano ang square ni a? So, we have a squared. And then, opposite ng sign. So, kung plus, magiging minus. And then, product of these two terms. So, a times 2 is 2a. And then, for the last term, lagi siyang positive. And square of the cube root of the second term. So, ano ang square ni 2? So, we have 2 squared. So, kung i-rewrite natin yan, we have a plus 2. So, ito po yun yung first factor natin. And then, on our second factor, yung 2 squared magiging 4. So, ang final answer na natin ay ito. So, the factors of a cubed plus 8 is the quantity of a plus 2 multiply to the quantity of a squared minus 2a plus 4. Let's have another example. So, example number 2, let us factor s to the 15th power minus 512. So, the first thing to do is to get the cube root of the first term. So, s to the 15th power, anong gagawin natin sa 15 na exponent? We have to divide this by 3. So, the result is s to the 5th power. Next, copy the sign in between and then get the cube root of the second term. Ano nga ba ang cube root ng 512? So, that is 8. Next, get the square of our cube root of the first term. So, pag ini-square natin yung s to the 5th, ayan po yung mangyayari. Then, get the opposite sign from minus, magiging plus. Then, get the product of these two terms. So, 8 times s to the 5th power, that is 8s to the 5th power. Then, for the last term, lagi siyang positive. What is the square of 8? So, yan naman yung nasa last term natin, ng second factor. Now, kapag nire-write natin yan to the final answer, so we have s to the 5th power minus 8 multiplied to the quantity of, ayan, yung 5 or s to the 5th power raised to 2 natin, magiging s to the 10th power. Then, copy 8s to the 5th power and then, the last term, ano ba ang square ni 8? The answer is 64. So, this will be the final answer for our example number 2. Okay? So, let's have example number 3. P to the third power plus 125q to the third power. So, this is an example of sum of two cubes. So, get the cube root, p to the third power. So, the answer is p. Copy the sign in between. So, positive. Get the cube root of 125. The answer is 5. And then the cube root of q cubed. The answer is q. And then, get the square of the first cube root. So, that's p squared. And then, yung opposite sign ni positive, magiging negative. Then, get the product of these two. P times 5q, the answer is 5pq. Then, get the square of the last term. So, laging positive yan. So, 5 squared, q squared tayo dyan. Then, rewrite it. So, we're going to have quantity of p plus 5q multiplied to the quantity of p squared minus 5pq plus, ano yung 5 squared? That is 25. And then, q squared. Okay? So, that will be our final answer. Let's have example number 4. Let us factor 1000 m cubed minus 27 n cubed. So, let's try to do this here. Okay? 1000 m cubed minus 27 n cubed. So, ano nga ba ang cube root ng 1000? So, we have 10. Cube root ng m cubed, we have m. Then, copy the sign. Cube root ng 27, we have 3. Cube root ng n cubed, we have n. Okay? So, ito na ngayon yung ating factor or first factor. So, from this first factor, makukuha natin yung ating second factor. Square natin itong ating first cube root. So, 10 squared m squared. Opposite ng minus magiging plus. Multiply natin. 3 times 10, we have 30. M times n, we have mn. Then for the last term, laging plus. Then get the square of the second cube root. So magiging 3 squared and then n squared. So if we rewrite this for our final answer, we have again the quantity of 10, m minus 3n, multiply to the quantity of what is the square of 10, we have 100 m squared plus 30 mn plus what is the square of 3, so we have 9n squared. So now this will be our final answer for the factored form of example number 4. Okay, next we have example number 5. So a the fifth power b to the fourth plus a squared b. So kung mapapansin nyo po, yung to the fifth power, hindi siya perfect cube. Yung b to the fourth power, hindi rin perfect cube. Pero, again, kung mapapansin nyo, may common sa kanila. Di po ba? Meron tayong greatest common factor. And, paano nga ba natin nakukuha yun when it comes to variables? So, kailangan ay, yung may least exponent. So, when it comes to the variable, a to the fifth power and a squared, so ang kanyang GCMF ay a squared. And then we have for the b, common ang b, alin ang may least exponent, we have yung b. Then factored out muna natin, a to the fifth, b to the fourth divided by a squared b, we have a cube b cube plus a squared b divided by a squared b. The answer is 1. Okay? Now, let us get the factor of this sum of two cubes. At wag na wag po natin kakalimutang isulat ang ating greatest common factor sa pinaka-una. So, get the cube root. A cube, b cube. Ang cube root niya ay ab. And then, copy the sign. Anong cube root ng 1? So, we have 1. Then, get the square of our first cube root. A squared, b squared. Then, multiply. But before that, do not forget, ang sign natin dapat ay opposite nung nasa first factor natin. Then, 1 times ab, the answer is ab. And then, get the square of the second cube root. So, 1 squared is equals to 1. Now, this is our final answer. So, no need to rewrite na kasi wala naman na tayong kailangan pang i-multiply or i-square. So, this will be our final answer for example number 5. For our final example, let us have the quantity of x plus y cube minus 27. So, in this case, gagamit tayo ng bracket. Okay? Then, get the cube root of our first term. So, ano ba ang cube root ng quantity of x plus y raised to the third power? So, none other than x plus y. Then, what is the cube root of 27? That is 3. Huwag kalimutan ang sign, minus. So, minus din siya dito. Then, bracket. Another bracket. So, what is the square of this first term? So, we have x plus y squared. And then, opposite ng minus, we have plus. And then, 3 multiplied to x plus y. So, we have 3 quantity of x plus y. And then, let us have the last term, we have 3 squared. So, we can rewrite this into the quantity of x plus y minus 3 multiplied to the quantity of x plus y squared. So, ito, pwede naman na hindi na natin i-multiply. So, copy na lang. and then get the square of 3, that is 9. So this will be the final answer for our last example. So I hope meron kayong natutunan dito sa video lesson na ito, and balikan nyo lang po kung meron pang hindi clear sa inyo. So yun lamang, maraming salamat sa panonood, and watch out for the next videos about the factoring techniques for the trinomials naman. Okay? Bye!